Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wild Woman Podcast. I have an amazing Irish woman with me today who is living in Mexico. So we'll get into the story of what brought her to Mexico. I met her recently at a drumming session we were just talking about before I hit record in Galway City, and I've often talked about it on the podcast that finding that drumming was really what led me to the podcast, among many other things, but it awakened something in me, which is that feeling of that wild woman being brought alive again. And I think Karen typifies this. We were just, and I'm getting the chills as I say this, because as for the times we are now, I'm now recording this in July 2025. I think most of us are feeling a lot is happening. A lot is happening. Very powerful times we're living through. So Karen Maloney is my guest. And the first sentence I read, and I thought, wow, this is just, I was feeling it straight away. She is an activator of light and possibility. And she supports soul-led individuals to reconnect with their truth, release subconscious limitations, and rise into their highest timeline and expression. Wow, what better work could you be doing?
even
Uh,
even back.
it is just that really just, and I have to say, and it's been the case with every single guest, I think, who's been on the podcast so far, is they were guided to me, I was guided to them, and it just
Mhm.
happens in a moment. We just go, it's like they were waiting for me to ask them, or the other way around. I don't know which, but something I trust important is meant to be shared through whatever conversation unfolds with each guest. And it always does. And every guest is my teacher, and I hope they're yours. We're all teaching. We're all teaching and learning at the same time and rising together. And
Mhm.
so oh my God, the chills. And I'm not cold. It's July, it's Ireland, but I'm still not cold. And welcome, Karen. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Celine. It's honestly a pleasure to join and connect, and even our little chat beforehand. And yeah, I mean, I just love the name as well, Wild Woman, and what's awakening in you and what you're bringing forward and creating this space for us all as well to share is amazing. And even when you read that back of the first line, I recently, very recently changed my bio again. And for me now, it feels like, we touched on this beforehand, it's literally my spirit that wants to express through me, that came here to express through me. Like, my body is temporary. Karen is the temporary experience. And it's me finally feeling safe to let spirit take the charge and follow and not shrink like I have done my whole life, and to allow this to happen and for me to claim it as well, which, is kind of the intention of your podcast as well, reclaiming that power that, no, I'm not crazy or silly or stupid. Like, no, there is something that wants to express through me. And yeah, so I'm in a different space than if we'd had this conversation, even a couple of weeks ago. And we touched on that as well just before we
Yeah.
started chatting. So it feels good, and it's a pleasure to be here. And thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you. And the timing is always divine. I do say that
Yes.
because I trust sometimes people have to reschedule, cancel,
Hmm.
and I can go through a little bit of irritation and then I go, okay, if someone else this is what happened to me, just to share this as well, people like, because I'm learning to trust. And I think to share
Hmm.
what happens when we open ourselves to that is just, yes, the fear, all that old stuff comes up. But when you move through it, it's like, like we were talking about the speed
Yeah.
of what starts to happen. And I had that very experience. I just, if you don't mind, it's because it's connected to you.
Yeah, go for it.
Us sort of connecting again about a week ago. Two guests, which rarely happens, had to cancel for this month. And normally I'm a few months in advance, and it was sort of unusual. And yeah, there was just something in how it was cancelled. And then someone else came in, and I had also at the same time, I might as well share it, say I'm coming up to the 100th episode of the podcast. And someone
Ooh.
said, you should get someone to interview you. And I was literally sitting at lunch with this friend, and I was like, I don't know. And next minute, a woman in America who I had approached about coming on the podcast came straight back, said, yes. I asked her, then I went, she's the woman to interview me. And she just went, yes. And then I came home and I had let the two people that I thought were coming on the podcast go. And I said, okay, if nobody's meant to come on, that's absolutely fine. And I'm sitting that evening, and myself and Karen have already connected a few weeks, months earlier at the drumming. And you just popped up again suddenly on my feed. Even, I'd been following you, but I hadn't
Mm-hmm.
seen anything. And I went, oh, we were meant, I don't know what happened. Did I contact her? Did she contact me? And I went, why not? And I just reached out and you just came back and went, yes. And
Mm-hmm.
even the timing for this week, we both spoke, and I won't go into it here. It's personal. Both of us have been going through some challenging personal
Mm-hmm.
situations that are quite similar in many ways. So it just feels absolutely perfect
Yeah.
that you're the guest this week, because maybe I couldn't have had this conversation with someone else, or, been open to be able to. So
Yes.
it's divinely timed, isn't it? Divinely guided in everything. Have you found that in your
100%.
life?
Oh, completely. Yes, that is 1,000,000% how my life has been from a very young age. I can see now that I was always very intuitive, but it wasn't constant. But I had a connection, and it would come in at times. And I was like the black sheep, but I had a very curious mind. I thought different to others. I didn't understand why I had to kind of follow this invisible path of, study, get a job, get married, have a house, whatever, like this linear path, even though I didn't understand, I didn't know anything else, but it just felt like, why do I have to do that? And even doing exams in school, especially the leaving cert, that was a huge, like, but why? How can I remember talking to my mother? I'd be like, yeah, but how can what I write in a piece of paper during these exams determine what I, the human, do with the rest of my life? I was like, it just makes no sense to me. So I was like, I'm going to do them, but I'm not putting all my eggs in the basket. Like, I really don't care what happens, even though I did, because at the same time, I'd have these moments of clarity. But at the same time, I was atypical. I was striving for perfectionism. I was trying to do all the things right. I was the good girl. I was people pleasing. I was afraid to upset the apple cart. I never wanted to break the rules. But then these moments would come in, and even I'd be like, or like this decision would come in, even like to study Spanish at the very start. I can see everything, how it's all connected. And it made
Mm.
no sense to me. But I just had this feeling, this knowing in my body to just do it. And now I know that claircognizance is my strongest sense. And it's just that knowing, even though I have no idea, because with intuition, you never have all the information. You have the next step, and you have no idea what's going to happen. Like you touched on the fear, like, yeah, I'm human. I have the freaking fear, of the panic, of the, in my mind, the overthinking, the what if. But that's the gas in case anyone hears the truck outside. Um, but just something I just knew to trust. And like that's why we're having this conversation now, because that's just really activated and been embodied for me on a whole new level, that yeah, no, this information has been coming through for me all my life. I have enough evidence now of things working out. And actually, I'll just, because you touched on it in the start, and then we'll move on or see where we flow. Because you mentioned Mexico. How did I get to Mexico? The last big test that I needed. After that, I was like, never again, even though, yeah, I'd have moments of, yeah, I don't know. At the end of 2019, it wasn't in my mind to move to Mexico. I wasn't thinking about that. I was at home in Ireland. The end of 2019, got this message, you need to move to Mexico now. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, where the hell is this coming from? I was like, why Mexico? Why now? Am I crazy? And I knew it was to live for a little bit of time, not just a holiday. And I only booked my flights January 2020. Because again, I know to trust, even though it made no sense. Because I was like, yes, I loved Spanish, but I was like, why Mexico? Spain is closer. I don't need a visa. They speak Spanish as well. Like, why Mexico? But I was like, I don't know why, but I know I need to go. If it's not Mexico, I can go somewhere else. So, and I knew it was to live for a bit. So I only booked my flights January 2020. And I was obviously looking at dates further ahead in the year, like August, September, or whatever. And I just kept hearing, I just knew it was like, it has to be January or February. It has to be January or February. So I was like, oh my God. So I was like, right. And complete trust. I booked flights. I left 6 weeks later, saying goodbye to everyone. I was like, I could be home in a month. I could be home in 6 months. I could be home in 10 years. I have no idea. But talk to you soon. I'm off to Mexico. And
I'm
that's
just saying
over
she's a
5.
Sagittarius rising for anyone who studies astrology. They'll understand.
Lol. So you just educated me a bit on that. So yeah, over 5 years later, I'm still here. And I could never have imagined I would still be here. I could never have imagined the pandemic, even how my visa worked out. Like I got my temporary residency, like it all just fell into place, that it's laughable, that it's like, you cannot write this shit, but I didn't know until you take action. So that's
Wow.
that piece.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I have to say as well, because I think it just, it reaffirms it maybe for anyone who goes, oh, does it really work like
Mhm.
that? And it took cancer for me
Mhm.
to start living like that because I'd no other choice.
Mm.
I'd been through, and we might go back a moment in your story as well, because I think
Mhm.
the turning points are always good to point out because they come to us before we get to the stage of trusting. We've usually exhausted, well, I know in my case, being a very slow learner, I exhaust every alternative before I go, okay, I'll trust. So it took cancer to literally break me apart and
Mm.
sort of open up, and I was opened up, let's say. And that path, exactly as you said, I remember getting this really strong instinct: you will only ever be given the next step. You're only ever given the next step. So this
Yeah.
idea that we are programmed or conditioned or whatever to live by, and I know you do a lot of work around this as well, which we can touch on, was oh, but you have to plan ahead. And there's nothing wrong, I
Mm.
know, with having visions and dreams and all of that, but maybe have that higher vision, but just stay present with what's unfolding. And that's what you've
Mm.
described and what you did. Like
Yeah.
I can say the exact same. It doesn't mean there aren't challenges, but literally, when you get into that state of activity guided, it just goes boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And don't you? And then you usually get a rest phase and integration. It's like, okay, everything stays quiet, and then it starts, the wave comes.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that's how you ended up living to get what you did to, and you got to Mexico. What was Karen
Mm.
like then? You touched on it, always intuitive, but you were young growing up in Ireland. And what happened that you sort of opened yourself? Was there a turning
Yeah.
point as well in
Yeah.
your life?
Oh, yeah. So I think everyone as well listening will completely know and have experience of certain things in their life as well, whatever it may be, of, oh yeah, it just all happened so quick. It was like magical. And although I say I was very intuitive and I had these moments, I didn't live there. And like you said, then you kind of get a rest period. And I don't know, for me, I'm like, did I get a rest? Maybe it was a rest. Or did I shut down? For me, it feels like I dimmed, because now I can say this, I didn't know any of this at the time, because again, these moments just seemed random, but I dimmed. I was extremely shy. Like I was so shut down emotionally as well. Like again, I was like on the outside, everything's fine, I'm all good, I'm so positive. And I was those things, but also I had this deep inner disconnect, which again, I think a lot of us can associate with, where I wasn't connected to myself. I didn't really like myself. I was extremely critical and hard on myself. I'm Virgo. I can overanalyze and pick things apart better than anyone. And I used to do that with myself all the time, consistently. My mind went a million miles an hour, because I also thought that the more I criticized myself, that's how I improved. That's, how I'd succeed. That's how I'd, yay, get all the things and be the star person in life. I didn't know any other way. And it felt so normal to me. Whereas now I can see like that's just the complete opposite of who we are and who I am now. So that's why I do even what I do, because I'm like, it's totally possible. Like if I can change, and that's why I call myself an inside out coach, because it has to be from within. It has to start with ourselves. So it can seem like, oh, I was very intuitive and maybe I had a different path and I had a head start to people. But that's not the truth, because that's not how I lived in my day to day. And inside, I was in my own prison and I was in my own hell, and it was horrible. So there's always a couple of catalysts. One of them I definitely put down to being attuned to Reiki in 2015. Not that I knew it at the time. And again, I was just doing it for personal reasons. But what unfolded after that, I think, prepared me. The fact that I had done the Reiki and allowed me to be more receptive and more connected. So in 2016, it was through a traumatic breakup, no more than a traumatic experience I just lived this last week, which has catapulted me to another level. But in 2016, it was through a traumatic breakup with my ex.
Oh, always one of the good ones.
Yeah. We were living abroad in Switzerland at the time, and I was back home in Ireland, and he wasn't from Ireland, and he had sent me an email just basically breaking up with me, saying I can't do this anymore, blah 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 blah. He said he'd gone home to his home country, he'd have all my stuff shipped back, and I never heard from him again.
Oh my God.
Turned off his phone, everything. But I didn't know this until a few months down the line. I lost everything I owned because nothing ever arrived back. So in those first few days, like, I literally felt like when I read that email, I literally felt instantly obliterated to a billion pieces. Like, I just felt like my heart just, and I was in shock. I was stuck to the bed. I couldn't talk to anyone. I couldn't eat. And I was just bawling hysterics. And I went straight to blame as well, self-blame. I was like, oh my God, what did I do? Maybe I should have done this, done that. Was it my fault? Like, oh, all these kind of, bullshit, I can say now. And in one of those days, and I remember it was early, like it was, I don't know, a couple of days after that email, same, just in bed, like crying the whole time, whatever, that in the fit of hysterics, all of a sudden, this immense serenity just came over me. And it was really quick, but even I remember thinking, this is really weird, because I was bawling my eyes out crying. And I heard a voice, and it said, okay, Karen, you have two choices here. You stay exactly as you are, miserable, blaming yourself, driving yourself insane, trying to work out what went wrong, what did you do, what didn't you do, crying, not talking to anyone, not eating, missing out in your life. Or you accept this as your reality and you start moving. And it was like, in that moment, I had such clarity. It was like, oh yeah, this has happened. Like, I can't unhappen it, no matter how much I cry or go in my head and try to figure it out. And from that moment, everything changed. And not to say that I didn't cry again or it wasn't painful, but no, it actually was the first time in my life that I actually even opened up and connected to my emotions. And I noticed when I allowed the emotion and sat with it and cried and acknowledged it, it dissipated. It didn't hang around. And I was like, oh, this is really weird. So, and
nobody
also,
tells you that. Sorry, that was a revelation to go, why doesn't anybody share this? You won't get lost in it. It does move.
It feels like you will get lost in it, and you can be in the washing machine for a bit.
Yeah.
But actually, yeah, it dissipates when you go with it. And actually, scientifically, they have proven an emotion, because we're flooded by biochemicals, it's a physiological sensation in our body as well. But the peak experience lasts 90 seconds.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's incredible.
Like, science has proven that.
Seconds. So
if you can ride that wave, now you might have a couple of, you might have 1 90-second and then you think, and there might be a couple that come together, but it does dissipate. And I was like, oh. So it was the first time in my life actually that I saw the facts. I didn't run away from my emotions, but it was also really interesting because I was doing that and not shutting down and avoiding like I normally would and pretend like I was okay. People were really confused because genuinely I was like, they all thought I was avoiding. I was completely blocking things out. And I was trying to tell them, I'm like, no, actually, for the first time in my life, I'm not. Like, that's how I spent my whole life. I was like, I feel it when it comes up in the moment, but then it passes and I don't live in that moment. And another thing that came up at that time, because I mean, it was real, the fear and the panic that came up in moments. And I'm sure you can associate with this as well. And Manning, that the fear and panic that gripped me at times, because the story that was going through my head was, I'll never be able to rebuild my life. Because I'd lost all my stuff. I had cancelled all my bills in Ireland. I'd sold my car, quit my job. I hadn't been working in Switzerland at the time. I'd burnt through all my savings. So I was like back in my parents' house. I was literally like, I'll never be able to
I
rebuild my
identify.
life.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sure many people listening will in different ways. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Sorry,
that was the story. So
yeah.
like the fear and the panic was real. And again, in one of those major intense peaks of fear and panic and like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I heard the voice again that said, put your hands in your heart and start giving thanks. And I was like, oh, what the hell is this? But I just knew to do it. Sorry if I curse, so I don't know if that's allowed or not. I was like,
that's part of being a wild woman. We reclaim and we take back these words that we were told.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So put my hands on my heart and started. So there was literally days, I remember I was standing in my bedroom in my parents' house and I was like, sure, what have I got to be thankful for? And I just start literally out of Zara, I'm thankful for the wall, I'm grateful for my bed, I'm grateful for my floor. And it felt so like, it wasn't connecting, but I did it every single time. And then eventually, and again, not very long, I'm not talking a year or months or what, I mean, yeah, definitely weeks, maybe a few months, but I'm not talking years or anything like that. Next thing I noticed one day, it's like this veil is lifted off. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, I'm actually fine. Like, yes, I've had this huge experience happen. Yes, it's painful in time, but I'm actually fine. And I've got incredible friends and family and a home and a roof and food. And because again, the gratitude brings you into pure presence. And when I'm present, there is no issue. And that was another thing I noticed a couple of months down the line. I'm like, oh, shit. I was like, this only hurts when I remember to think about it.
When you remember to think about it. When you brought yourself back to the moment of what happened, per se.
Because in our mind, we can go to any timeline. When I'm present, I'm in my body, there is no problem, ever. Well, 99% of the time. But when I go up here, and that, you know, that's been part of my work as well. And that's every time I feel myself in fear and panic, whatever, what set it off? It's always a thought. But we don't see the connection. So I saw that so clearly. It was like, oh my God, when I'm living my life, when I'm present, when I'm with my friends and like literally with them or enjoying whatever I'm doing, life is amazing. But then as soon as I go into victim and I'm like, oh yeah, but this happened and oh God, poor me. Which I mean is human as well. Well, where was I? Then I was all back in the sadness and the pain and the, oh my God, I'm a fuck up and
Yeah.
Whereas again, and this was the first time ever where again, I wasn't denying that. I'd be like, okay, I'll acknowledge this. I'll feel this because it's always a healing. There's a new layer. But then I fucking change my mind and I get back into presence and actually what does feel good. Because again, like that thing of you accept it and you move on with your life. It's like, this is my life. Why? Because of what someone else did and a situation that happened. Why would I destroy my own life?
And did it take that whole... Sorry, there's a little delay there because I think, the internet probably just went to... It's okay, it's probably just
going it's a bit glitchy. Can't handle the energy.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. It's like, oof.
Thank you, internet gods.
We need you're this energy. Or watching. We're just blowing up the internet. But sorry, continue. There was something I was going to say there, just slipped from me, but it was to do with...
You were asking, I think, about the time. Did it
Sorry.
take long?
Oh, yeah. But okay, so you were describing, just very interesting, like the shift from what you describe, and it's what I just say this because it's what I relate to through cancer, was shifting from this. I think the greatest lesson was shifting from life is happening to me, all this stuff is happening to me, life is happening. And it sounds very trite, but it's it's a process you have to go through and and feel, but I
Absolutely.
really began to know and feel it's happening for me or it's happening through me. You know, this is me, like as you said, the inside out. Did that process for you, did that just organically, how you're describing, were you doing anything else? Were you starting to, I know you said you'd done Reiki that started to activate things. What else was happening around this time?
1,000,000%. And what I say to people is, because I was always curious, and still books, I adore books. I was always a massive reader. I'm still a massive reader, and it's always nonfiction. I want to learn. So I loved about personal development, autobiographies of people who'd gone through horrendous things and made massive changes and were doing incredible work. Kind of type psychology, esoteric. So I read all the books. They made sense. I got it. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But I had no practice. I was not walking the talk. So after that event, that's when I was like, okay, Karen, it's time to start walking the talk. So that's when I really started doing the work, and I'm doing it still to this day. And I adore it. So I started, all these things about the subconscious, and does it really hold all the power? Am I the creator of my life? Do I have more power than I realize? I started delving deeper, and I was and still am my own project. Period. Full stop. So that was the big difference. I started walking my talk. I actually started doing the work. I started sitting with all the emotions. I started going into the subconscious. And since then, can you hear me? Since
Yeah.
then, I've trained, like that's how everything has unfolded. Because again, I still kept reading the books. I always did energy work as well. And I think that definitely saved me. Like I went to kinesiology when maybe I was 13 or something. Like I just loved, and I used to go to this lady outside Galway who did like angel healings and things like that. So I was always really interested. Actually, I remember the point where that kind of opened for me was in secondary school. I did Tranier, and I did not want to do Tranier. I wanted to finish and get the hell out of there. But none of my friends would come on with me. I was like, please, I was trying to convince them all. I was like, please, with just one E, come on. Like, let's just finish this and get out of here. Like, fucking hell.
Get out of here.
But they were all doing it. So I was like, fine, I'll do it. And actually, it was really good for me. Again, divinely timed, because I really started kind of breaking out of my shell a little bit. But this lady came in one day and gave us a demonstration on kinesiology. And she was doing all these muscle testings, like is the body dehydrated and all these kind of things. And something within me went, I was fascinated. I didn't understand a thing, but again, I had that knowing. And I knew I would do something in energy work at some stage in my life. I knew it wouldn't be a first career, and it wasn't. I did events management, but I knew in that moment. And I'd forgotten about it, as you do, until like Reiki and then all these things and different modalities that I've tried over the years, and I've trained in loads of different ones. And I'm like, oh yeah, this was always, I suppose, part of my destiny. So yeah, the big difference was I started walking my talk and doing the work on myself and changing my own, well, knowing what were my limiting beliefs and changing them. And I also realized that I could not love anyone more than I loved myself. And I had, when I got honest, and actually getting honest with ourselves is the most uncomfortable thing, because if I was truly, truly honest with myself, I should have left that relationship long before that moment, because shit had changed. It wasn't comfortable. There was like emotional abuse. I was completely shut down. I felt like I was walking on eggshells, but I lived in fear. Fear was running me. And I had this story that, what if I don't get another chance? Like, it'll come back to was and And I had him on a pedestal over me. Whereas we can't do that. So I had to get really honest. I mean, like, not living from a place of fear anymore, which isn't easy, which doesn't happen overnight, which is still constant work, but it's the only way.
Yeah, yeah. It does take something, doesn't it? My experience, I think, as humans,
Yeah,
what do they say? The pain of staying the same has to become greater than the pain,
greater. Yeah,
or the other way around.
or
Yeah, the pain of staying, yeah, yeah,
same.
has to
Yeah, we
cause
do
us.
because,
Mm.
or another way I've heard people say is like, we have this opportunity all day, every day, in any single moment to make the decision and take the power back in our life. But for most of us, we need to kind of experience that dark night of the soul rather than choose to see the faith and the light.
Yeah,
But I believe, and this is just coming to me now, this is part of the shift that we're in, that I think maybe more people will start doing it before the big blow up. Because there's
yeah.
enough of us and always has been going,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, no.
don't wait for that.
No, the times
But
they are changing, but it does feel like, the waves and waves and waves
mm,
of people at different stages waking up, or, whatever words. I know we keep saying waking up, but really remembering, I always say remembering who you
mm-hmm,
truly are. And
yeah,
just what you described, that was sort of related to what you've just said there is, there'll be people listening, some who are going, yeah, God, I went through that, or oh my
mm-hmm,
God, I'm in the middle of it. And others listening
yeah.
going, my life is awful. I don't know. Oh, no, no, I can't do that. So, what do you think, or what do you feel is the why some people do and why some people don't, and what blocks some people from, how do you see how that unfolds for people, or maybe why it doesn't?
What's coming through is the first word was fear.
Yeah, that's what you said. Fear. Yeah.
Fear. Everyone's majority of people are living in fear. Like it was running me, it's running most people. Also, I think there's an element of divine timing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think it's, and it's gone. So it obviously wasn't
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. No, no, I think
But
that, yeah, yeah,
fear, the big one, fear,
yeah,
and there's
yeah,
definitely an element of
yeah,
divine timing.
yeah,
Oh, and the last one was fear of spirit, because actually we can't do this work. We can't, it's my experience. This is my truth according to me. But from what I've experienced, I'm like, oh, we can't truly heal without developing a connection with something greater than us, whatever that is, whether you call it, and I'm not talking about religion, but for some people, it might be religion, they get it. But whether you call it God, universe, divine intelligence, source, spirit, we cannot heal without it. Because, why do I say that? Well, one, now I know, like it's scientifically proven, there is an energy outside of us. Like there is a quantum field that is us, that is holding us all together. Quantum science has proven that. But also, like, how do you make sense of some of the shit that happens if you don't have this connection? That's why I'm like, without this connection, you're just staying the fear and victim, which there's no judgment, because I've been there as well. That's why I know I'm like, without ascending, without connecting to the truth of us or spirit, because as it says, our body is in our spirit. It is held by the hugeness and vastness of our spirit. Not that our spirit is in our body. Yes, it's moving through us. We're just a channel. We're just a vessel for spirit to have this life experience. Without the vessel, without the temporary experience of Karen, it's just the energy. And spirit comes here to experience certain things as well. I use the word spirit, but again, it's interchangeable for
mm,
whatever people, whatever word resonates with people. So that's the big one as well. And that's scary to trust in the unseen for
yeah,
most people. And even for me still at times. But that's why you have to build your own practice. Because even like I can see, I have enough evidence throughout my life that even though I might not see it, even though I don't know how to explain quite how it works, I know it freaking works. So beginning to build faith in the light, faith in spirit, and surrender and trust, like, whew, that's a huge process that for many people, they'll just choose the fear because it's easier. It's actually
we've
easier to
also
live in.
haven't we've been sort of, the more I'm on this path, I'm seeing basically everything I have learned growing up, it's basically the opposite. you know, in many cases. And I'm not saying someone's out to get you, but just that
No.
sense of exactly the fear and I have to control my what you described, I would have experienced. And I'm sure everyone or many listening will
Mm-hmm.
relate to this constant,
Yeah.
we're on the hamster wheel, we've got to keep it all the balls in the air, you know,
Mm-hmm.
control this, manage until eventually it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
So, you know, something will usually give. If somebody
Yes.
in the fear, I mean, and I love what you said about the fear of, you know, connecting to something greater. So somebody, I'm just visualizing somebody in a really difficult place and
Mm-hmm.
going like, I really want to, like, I want to believe what you
Yeah.
are saying is the case. And I'm sure it is because you've talked about the evidence. What would you suggest maybe, I know you talk about a practice, how would someone start in a very difficult moment to start opening up to that possibility? What would you suggest?
Great. Okay. I think this is a perfect time to do a quick rapid tapping session,
Oh, yes,
because at
perfect.
the end of the day, we have to acknowledge, and this is why it feels so scary for people. We have to acknowledge the truth of what we're feeling, because the body keeps score. The body holds the wisdom. And when previous traumas from our lives, from past lives, from ancestral, from other lifetimes, because it's all stored in the body, when that starts to come up and we do a tool or a way to safely sit with it, allow it and release it, we shut down again because we think we'll just be blown apart. And we can be, because it's a lot. So this is the perfect time for a little rapid tapping, because what we're doing is connecting with the body. It is somatic, but also we acknowledge the truth of what we're feeling, but we're also tapping on different acupressure points, which is activating the amygdala at the same time, the fight or flight. So we're activating ourselves, but by tapping as well, we're calming so the body can recalibrate. Like, because this energy has to get out. And this is what we do in breath work, in theta healing, in so many modalities. This is where I'm at. I'm like, yeah, it was too slow. It's too slow for me. Not I'm saying it's too slow for everyone, but for me and what's coming through me and how I am being called to work, it's too slow for me. I don't have time, and people don't have time to be sitting around for 2 hours to try to get this energy.
Yeah. And I
So
think the energies are moving so fast. I mean, I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell, was that just a day that went by? Or what was that? A
Yeah.
moment, a week, a year, a month? I don't know. So yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
So,
Thank you.
well, I don't know if you can see me. You don't need to see my hands, but just placing our hands over our heart center first, feet on the ground, and just closing down your eyes, whether you're watching or listening or whenever you're coming to this, and just take a deep breath in through your nose, breathing slow, pause at the top, and then release it with a sigh. We'll just do another one like that. Just into this moment, breathing in, pause, and letting it go. And I want everyone to imagine a frequency scale. So whether eyes open or closed, and at the top is +10. And +10 is, you know, euphoria, bliss, happiness, joy, love, magic, all of those amazing vibes. In the middle, you're kind of flatlined, you're nah, all the way to 0-10. And 0-10 is complete hopelessness, despair. And honestly, if you're at a 0-10, you're probably not on a call or doing something like this right now. Okay, it's just, and we're going to work with kind of fear, you know, this real fear that's true for all of us. Like, fear is a true emotion, and there's no bad emotions. Fear serves its purpose as well, but it feels scary. And just giving a number in your head, top line of on +10 to -10, kind of where you're feeling. Just making a mental note. And the intention with this, and I want everyone to open their eyes now. The intention with this is that we're going to raise our frequency. Even if that's just a tiny little bit, this is all about elevating. It's about getting some of that energy out of the body. So butterflying under the collarbone. I can't remember. Is there video with
There is.
your...
Yeah, there is
yeah, so
video.
people can see. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so great. Listening, it doesn't matter. So we're just pushing our hands out under our collarbones, and under the collarbones, just begin to massage, moving around in circles. And you might feel a little indentation, a little soft spot, a sore spot, and just breathing. So again, just taking a deep breath here. Just massaging here for the moment and breathing. And repeating after me. I feel fear.
I feel fear.
In this moment, I'm feeling pretty fearful.
In this moment, I'm feeling pretty fearful.
And again, maybe, because not everyone may be doing this right now will be. It's like, maybe that's true. You can repeat this as well. Maybe I'm feeling lots of fear in the moment.
Maybe I'm feeling fear lots of... Sorry, I'll let you maybe say I'm coming in.
That's
Maybe
all
I'm
right.
feeling
Yeah,
lots of fear in the moment.
and maybe I'm,
Maybe I'm not.
because not everyone in this moment will be feeling real heightened fear, but you can come back to it. But you can still do it because fear is always real. Because, and I want everyone home to express their own truth of why they're feeling fear. Whatever that is, just saying it out loud because you're feeling fear. So people might be saying, because I have no job, my mortgage is due, I've a million and one things to do, I feel I'm going to be fired, I'm whatever. Just people just honor their truth in this moment, which is always going to be different. So I feel the fear because again, our brain needs a logical reason, and just airing that. And again, even saying this can be scary, saying it out loud. And just keep breathing as I'm talking, massaging those points, because this is all helping shift the energy. Because there's a real fear sometimes, even in manifestation, that if I speak the negative out loud, I'm going to manifest it. So there's often a block, but we need to honor it. And this is a safe way to do that. You're releasing it, not manifesting it. But it is possible for me.
It is possible for me
To acknowledge this fear.
to acknowledge this fear.
To acknowledge the present moment.
The present moment.
Whatever is happening in this moment.
Whatever is happening in this moment.
Without judgment.
Without judgment.
Just letting it be.
Just letting it be.
But it is possible for me to also shift my frequency in this moment. Okay, so we're going to do a little tap. So 2 hands, give them a little shake off, and then in between eyebrows. All this fear.
All this fear.
Side of the eye, feeling all of this fear.
Feeling all of this fear.
Fluttering over and back under the eye. Whew.
Oh.
Just making any sound, any eye. Whew. Under the nose. It can be a lot.
Be a lot.
Chin. And that's okay.
That's okay.
And then we tilt our head up a bit and we flutter down our neck and come to our collarbone and tap around our collarbone. Because I'm human.
Because I'm human.
And fear is part of the human experience.
Fear is part of the human experience.
Top of the head. So I can acknowledge any fear.
I can acknowledge any fear.
Eyebrows. And I can release it.
And I can release it.
And not hold on to it.
And not hold on to it.
Side of the eye. Maybe, yeah, maybe I can do a bit of that.
Maybe I can do it.
And again, just everyone noticing how that feels, fluttering under the eye. Maybe I can just release a little bit of this in this moment.
Maybe I can just release a little bit of this in this moment.
Under the nose. Maybe it is possible for me.
Maybe it is possible for me.
To release some of this in this moment.
To release some of this in this moment.
Chin, and just take a smile. Everyone just take a smile, maybe roll your shoulders and breath. And fluttering down the neck to the collarbone. Maybe it is possible in this moment to release a little bit.
It is possible to release a little bit in this moment.
Great. So closing the eyes again, just placing the hands over the heart center, taking a breath in. Releasing with the sigh. And Celine, just you're here with me, but everyone do this. Just even those few minutes, what do you notice has shifted for you?
For me, what have I noticed has shifted?
Because we're going to tap in. We want to seal in any little positive shifts, whatever it may be.
I feel lighter.
Great.
I feel lighter, and not in as much fear. I just feel lighter, more present, more in my body, to take the moment. I feel more in my body.
Great. So we're going to just move a little quicker and just tap in some of these frequencies. So in between the eyebrows, again, deep breath. Feeling lighter.
Feeling lighter.
Side of the eye. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit lighter.
A bit lighter.
Maybe even change your voice, the tone, the sound. Under your eye, fluttering, move your body a little. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I'm feeling a bit lighter. I am.
Under the nose. Wow, it is possible for me to shift my energy quickly.
Wow, it is possible for me to shift my energy quickly.
Chin. Wow, I can do something when the fear comes up.
Wow, yeah, I can do something when the fear comes up.
Fluttering down. And in this moment. Now I feel lighter.
Feel lighter.
Calmer. Maybe a bit giddier, shaking our body. Top of the head. Maybe it's possible for me to bring a bit of fun in this moment.
Maybe it's possible for me to bring a bit of fun into this moment.
Eyebrows. Even though I can acknowledge there's fear, there's stress, there's a lot going on.
Even though I can acknowledge there's a lot going on.
Side of the eye. I can still shift my frequency quickly.
I can still shift my frequency quickly.
Fluttering under the eye. And move the fear easier.
And move the fear easier.
Under the nose. And actually, from this energy that I'm feeling now.
This energy I'm feeling now.
Chin. I am much more productive and full of creative solutions.
I'm much more productive and full of creative solutions.
Chin. Than if I choose the fear. So we're going to just do a head hug as well. So rubbing our hands together, bringing them up over your head, maybe stomping your feet. Just building all the energy. We've loads of electromagnetic points in our hands as well. And what we're going to do when I count us in, we're going to put one hand across our forehead and the other at the back of our head. And we're just going to allow the energy of maybe some of that lightness, more fun, possibility, creative solutions to just move down through our body. So 3, 2, 1. One hand on the forehead, the other at the back of the head, closing your eyes. Breathing in and just feeling the energy, and imagine maybe a color moving down the top of your head, bringing that sense of shift, that possibility, creative solution, feeling lighter, more expansive. And then just coming back to your heart, keeping your eyes closed for a moment. And again, now just tuning in. What is the score on that scale? Has moved up a little. Even if you're a 4 and you went to a 4.5, that's amazing. That's still raised. And if Celine, if you feel like sharing, has yours shifted up any bit?
Yeah, it has. I think about 3 up from I was 6. I feel more like a 9, to be honest.
Great. Yeah. Excellent. And that's all we need, is just a tiny little shift in the moment. because just to close this out, just imagine again, your eyes closed. Now imagine seeing yourself on a screen, whether a computer screen, a phone screen, a cinema screen, any kind of screen. And just notice yourself having experienced something really beautiful and filled with love or joy or whatever it may be. And just see yourself on that screen, your energy, how you're moving, your expression, and just connect with that and whatever it might be for you, what that version of you is feeling. Just imagine breathing some of that in. And then opening your eyes, shaking off. And yeah, that is an example. And it may seem like, oh, that's a really nice practice to do in the moment. But no, it's so powerful on so many levels, on a physical, on an emotional level. Because like you said, you felt it in your body. So our body is what's always, it's our powerhouse, it's subconscious. That's where we're all manifesting from. And like I said before, it seems scary to acknowledge the truth and express the negativity because we think, oh no, I don't want that. But that's what the body is feeling. So if we don't allow that out, that's what we're going to keep. Because we can think all, and this was me for ages, think, oh, so positive in my mind, all the mental work, which is amazing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with affirmations or positive thinking. I'm saying affirmations and prayers and positive thinking all day, every day. But the piece for me that was really missing was the body. Because I was saying all this and I was like, yeah, but why aren't things still happening? Why do I still feel a bit, because the body was still holding on to this energy. So even after that quick thing, even I feel more expansive. That again, sitting in the fear doesn't help. Again, it's not to be avoided. It's not to be shoved down. We feel it, which is really scary because we're not taught to feel our emotions. And society is set up perfectly for us to distract in millions of different ways. So I get it. It feels really scary. Remember I said I was completely shut down emotionally. So it seemed like the scariest thing in the world. But like we said already before, actually, when we go there, one, they dissipate when you allow it. But two, peak experience can be 90 seconds. And if you can just breathe or tap through that, then you're in a whole different reality. We're literally in a different frequency now. And from this frequency, a totally different outcome can come. Because your mind is clear. You can see things you didn't see before. You, can feel more creative, clear, expansive, full of possibility. Still full of love, joy, and gratitude for the moment. So like me as well, where I was destroying my whole life and not seeing anything positive when I was in that moment of shock, which is fine. But again, how long do I want to live there? Because there is always beauty and magic everywhere in every moment, even in the darkness.
I think even especially
in
in the darkness.
especially in the dark. And that's why it is especially in the darkness. And that's why, exactly like you said, no matter how it appears on the outside, life, spirit is happening for us, not to us, not to us. It is all for us to crack us open, to dissolve the masks, the bullshit, the fear, the limitations, to allow the truth of us, which is expansive, which is a limitless, boundless, infinite soul, and to allow that energy to move through us to express.
Wow. I'm feeling it, and I'm just getting the image of, and as you said, and I've found this, if as you were saying, like us being a channel, when you think of everything we've suppressed, as we all do for different reasons, how can all of this move through us, as you said, unless we're keeping the pipe? I just keep seeing like a water pipe or something blocked up with the muck. And if you can hold on, and then eventually there'll be an explosion. I've had plenty of them. in
Yeah,
all sorts of ways, illness, whatever.
yeah,
But the
yeah, yeah,
power,
yeah.
so you, but it then what that, and I'm feeling it now, but what that then opens you up to is actually the power of who you truly are, the essence, that seed,
Yes.
that core, that whatever that light is like
Or light.
it's,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
And let me tell you, and actually, even recently it's come in again, Marianne Williamson's quote of it's our
Yes.
light that we're more
Yes.
scared of than the dark.
Exactly.
And that's been my
Yeah.
experience because, and it's funny, and I'm going to say this, it's like orgasm. There is such an amount of light and energy that it can feel like too much. Like, oh my God, I'm going to freaking die or pop out of here or whatever. I've had peak experiences like that in breath work as well. But especially in orgasm, because that's the creative energy.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm not saying I experienced this during orgasm, but I experienced it during awakening myself, that it's
Yeah.
like, and I was panicking. I was like, oh my God, no, but like, this is too much. This is too much. Like, what might happen? And that's the fear. Because
Yeah.
what might happen is I thought I might die.
Yeah. Or lose control, maybe. There is that element, isn't
Oh,
it?
control. Yes,
Oh my
yes, yes,
God,
yes.
I can't control
It's
this. It's too
probably,
much.
yeah,
I don't know. It can be many things. I suppose
more control.
exactly
You're
I'm going to
right.
die, but I've often had moments going, whoa, yeah, what happens? Like, as you said,
Yes,
we let go and surrender into things that happen is
yes,
like the pain, I'll
yeah,
die. And
yeah.
maybe we do die, and it's who we're not is dies.
Yes, we do. It's my experience, but we die to who we're not meant to be. It's that sense you
Exactly.
are reborn,
Yeah.
but as the truth of you. But yes, you're right. It is control as well, because it's like, oh, like what's going to happen? And that's been huge for me because I had the story, if I can control everything, and now I can see that's why I was in my mind and over analyzing, overthinking, whatever, because I mistook control for safety.
Yeah.
And I thought if I can overanalyze, plan, logicalize, think whatever is going to happen and have every box ticked off, I'm safe. Whereas that never works. Safety comes through the giving up of control, the surrender, the trust, the letting go. But yes, I absolutely get it, and you get it, and lots of people, that seems so scary because you think the whole thing is going to fall apart. And in some aspects, it can. Pieces will dissolve and crumble, but it's always for your highest good again.
Yeah. Have you ever met, sorry, just to say, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, Karen, and I go, and I've interviewed a lot of women and no more than you and worked and met a lot of people.
Mm,
haven't met one woman or man who has gone through something like that where they did let go. I haven't met anyone who's come out the other side worse. Yes, we all go through
yeah.
very difficult, and there may be traumatic experiences, but in
Yeah.
looking back, in hindsight, if they've chosen to sort of embrace it as best they can, there is no one I have met who says, they would do it differently. So
I want to go back.
I want to go
I
back to where I was. Yeah.
I 100% agree. No, and I think that's why we are the lights, But I will say for me, what yes was true, I felt like I was in limbo for a couple of years because I hadn't fully surrendered, but I had started shifting, and I was a bit like, oh my God, I wish I never kind of woke up. Like I was like, I wish I was still asleep. I wouldn't even know because I hadn't quite landed. I was like, yeah, I'm not this anymore, but I don't know who I am or what's happening yet. I think a lot of people can relate to that as well. Like it's not always a boom, one and done, and oh, look, I got through it, and yay, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
No, there's so much discomfort. There's so much change. There's so much uncertainty. And like that, there can be a limbo, a stuckness, an unknowing. I remember for me at one stage, going back a good few years, I felt like I didn't know if I had gone crazy or if everyone else was crazy. And I remember it was a particular time because I've always come and gone and traveled the world because I couldn't be at home at the time for my changes I was going through, because I was like, oh no, this isn't for me. So again, trust your own path. And I've traveled the world. I've been the black sheep. I've never done the traditional, which again, for a long time I struggled with, because why don't I want what everyone else wants? Why am I off again? Why? Whereas now I'm like, oh no, it's completely perfect, because it's that thing. I didn't come here to fit in. I came here to stand out. And that was where I needed to be in through these experiences to get to know myself. But I remember one time I went home, and I won't say what brand it was, but this brand of handbag, it was kind of during the boom, or the boom had started kicking off. So, everyone was buying things and had loads of stuff. And there was this particular handbag mark that everyone had. Lots of people might know what it was. And I came home and like everyone was mad for one of these handbags and everyone had them. And I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with people? I was like, why does everyone want to be the same? I was like, one, the handbag is ugly. I was like, two, why is everyone fucking mad for one? And then that's when I'm like, oh, I don't know what's happening here. I was like, are they mad? Am I mad? Like, and I was like, I need to leave again, So just to say, and I did, but just to say, like, that's real as well. So that's why, connecting, it's like to say, finding your tribe where you do fit in, where you do feel at home. And now I've come to a place of full acceptance, and it's one thing people have often asked me, how I still have so many friends from like childhood. Because often for a lot of people, when you go through an awakening, like everything changes, including friends and whatnot, which is all fine as well. Like, yes, some people have dissipated, but I still have a core group of friends who are very different to me. We're very different to each other. And it's been curious to me as well, because, I've met so many people that are like, yeah, no, I just had to totally kind of ditch the pack or whatever. Whereas I was like, no, I still have the same friends from like 30 years ago, some of them 35, and even since university, like over 20 years in that. And I think now it's just because I and them as well, obviously, have just come to a place of acceptance. We just be ourselves and we just get to be silly and laugh and have fun. And there's no competition. And it's like, well, you think differently, I think there. Who gives a fuck? We like each other's company and we have fun.
Yeah. Isn't that a big part of the journey too? Because,
Oh,
and no judgment either way, but I would have gone through a phase going, oh yeah, I can't associate with them because they don't think the same as me and they don't see life the way that I do and da 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 da. And that was the biggest lesson for me coming out. And I'm not saying I'm great at it now, but maybe better to go exactly as you said. Enjoy the fun. We don't have to get into these big sort of philosophical life, and often isn't it the people, the more humble, just going around doing their whatever it is day to day,
that's
maybe
exactly
not
it.
believing they're doing anything amazing is actually probably doing more than so many of us. So yeah, it's that sort
Yeah.
of um
Again, it's the truth that, but again, has to be authentic. Like whatever lights you up
yeah,
is your authentic truth. And that can be everything and anything. But it's that aligned to authenticity versus
yeah.
doing it for the sake of it.
Yeah. But isn't
But
that what we're
yes.
moving through now? It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely, can you talk a little bit just before we finish up as well at the time? Because many, I think, and many people who will listen to this, I think will be aware or, that we're going through a fairly massive evolution on the planet right now.
Mm,
And things are shifting and changing in the world at large. And I think in our own
yeah.
worlds. And that can be
Mm.
hard to navigate and sometimes understand. So what would you like to share around that might support people, or any insights and wisdom?
Yeah. So again, what's going through is staying out of the fear, staying out of the weeds. And what I was shown recently as well, even about the whole, and again, that's hard, because, and that's where I say that piece of having some bigger faith, because to stay in the love is harder, because you have to feel your emotions, you have to honor what's going on, you have to see the facts of like the war, the abuse, the whatever. You have to see the facts, you have to heal them, and you have to come back and find a bigger you have to come back to the love and find and hold on to a bigger faith and reason to why this is happening. And that's why I say that's harder than the fear, because in the fear, you just get to be like in the fear and the blame and the victim. And again, there's no judgment, but we have to get into the frequency. And it's all, and I've shown as well that literally even more important than ever is frequency-based wellness techniques. And this is what has come through for me. And between rapid tapping and hydrogen water that we were just talking about beforehand, there are two
Yes, we
things
must
that I'm
touch
like,
on that.
I
Yeah.
can hold my frequency really quicker than other things. Like every other thing works, but this is like, no, we need it now because we are shifting so quick. We are on a rocket ship. Everyone is feeling it. And if we don't hold that frequency of love, it is the time more than ever to connect into and look after your energy and your frequency and do things that feel good to you, that light you up, that are not just checking out. So you feel the pain, you see the facts, you do a rapid tap in it, whatever it is, and you choose to do what lights you up. You choose something that raises your frequency. That can be putting on a song in your kitchen and having a dance, but that is the kind of level of frequency management we need individually for ourselves as a collective for this shift that we are going through. And I was also shown recently as well, you know, because the war and Gaza and Palestine, it's so present and it's still ongoing, and the States and all these things going on. And, you know, there is so much fear and like the loss and the kids and the pain, like, oh my God, it's horrendous. But how does living in that, thinking about it 24/7 help? It's feeding into it. So what I was shown as well, and it reminded me years ago, Diana Cooper joined me on my podcast. You know, people might know her from the UK, the Angel Lady, whatever. And it was during the pandemic. And she had said during the pandemic on that conversation that all of the souls that were leaving at that time were doing us a massive service of taking all that density. And I just lost a friend last week, and I felt, whew, that was another catalyst for me, actually, that has catapulted me into this whole other stratosphere. But I saw her and the amount of density that she took. But I was also shown that, because again, every soul comes with a mission. We already choose what we came here to do. And the souls that are involved in the war and who have lost their lives so far in the war, they are doing us a huge service. And even on a huger global collective, they're keeping all the powers that be so busy and be like, oh, let's make more money. Let's sell more arms. Let's keep this war going. Yay! Fighting among countries. They're doing such an incredible job at keeping them all busy that we're over here building the new. Because you don't fight the old, you build the new. And oh my, are we over here in a whole new way. And we are poised to rocket launch. Like, this is what I'm being shown, like we are ready. And once we all escalate, and this is why every single one of us individually need to be more responsible than ever about the frequency that we carry in our body, in our moment to moment, day to day, because we're all part of it. And once we all take that leap and move through that threshold, the old is crumbling. And they're doing the exact job. There will be heaven on earth for everyone who is left. And again, that's really hard. You're looking at the pictures of the kids starving and crying, but their soul came here to do that. And that's not denying the pain. That's not been like, okay, that's okay for me to check out and be like, okay, they're just doing something. I just get to do my job. No, they're doing their responsibility. Now we need to do our responsibility and look after our energy and our frequency so we can shift, and then it can be heaven on earth for everyone. And that's, well, so it's coming through for me anyway, recently from spirit.
Yeah. Thank you. I
See?
feel that too. And even as you're talking, I get this image, and I've always had nearly why, and it's Pam Gregory, I often quote her, the astrologer. I think she's a friend of Diana Cooper's, and she often says, don't look back at the collapsing scenery. That basically, exactly as you're describing, that's all collapsing, and we're all, I nearly see it like a web or an, and it's almost holding everything. So when that collapses, that's going to rise up under. And
But
through
like,
all these
it's like everything.
connections.
Yeah, but it's like everything. It's like Google Maps. Like, there has to be a destination. If you don't put in a destination, we can't move anywhere. If there's no destination in Google Maps, it's useless. It's like,
Yeah.
well, I don't know what to do. We're the same as a collective. If there's no, and it's been happening for years, but now, no, it's really time. It's
Yeah.
It's quantum leaping. So if we don't have it already constructed, where are we going to go?
Yeah. But do you think, Karen, from what we were talking about earlier, to me, because there's so much, and sometimes I find like an awful lot comes in, I'm just like overwhelmed with all this information, that
Yes.
the way that I find, which brings us back to being in the body, is like following what's like, what's rising up in me, what feels like and again, when we, you were saying earlier about clearing the channel and detoxing and what other things you do, I can now hear it and feel it, and I can go, oh my God, I've this huge energy to go and I don't know, meet so and so for lunch. Or they could be, it may not seem to my logical mind, but they're the guy, that's what's guiding me to what I am to be doing to contribute to this. If someone's listening going, but I don't know, oh, you're frozen a little bit there, or you might be back. I don't know what is this vision? Where am I going? And we're building the new. I think, isn't it, is just follow what's rising up. Like what's really alive in you is your guiding force. That's how I find it. Are you there?
Yeah, I think my back.
You're
Can you
back.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me there. Sorry. It's okay.
Bits again,
I can cut
the
that little
energy
bit out for a
surge.
little pause, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
the energy
All good.
surge. So I think, what were you saying? You cut off a bit, but what were you saying of,
Is
yeah,
is
just
it in
repeat your
terms of
question, Sway.
okay, so what you were saying there about building the new and we have to have a destination, I suppose for what came up for me when you said that is what also can, if you're listening and going, but I don't know what the destination is, by tuning in to what is rising up in you and what is calling you, like where's your energy calling you to do, be, or not, that is, that's the guiding force for each of us to build a new, because it'll be very different, won't it? Each person is being called in a different way,
Yes.
playing roles. I can look at some people out at rallies for different things and going, I don't know if that's really my thing. And it's perfectly fine, but everybody has a different role and others are doing
Yeah.
completely different things, building,
Yeah.
new types of food or creating, different types of food. And so, yeah,
Completely.
just what your words of advice might be to someone who's going, okay, I'm
Yeah.
in. What do I do?
What do I do? Yeah, well, exactly that. It, like we touched on earlier, it's your authentic truth, which will be 8 billion different authentic truths and different expressions of spirit, but it's from spirit versus from ego and fear. Like, that's the evolution we're in. It's an evolution of consciousness, and it's moving into that sovereign being energy and consciousness of, oh, I am a spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. And that connects more with the divine feminine as well, which is rising, because the masculine energy has been holding the energy, which is that go, hustle, force, charge. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it needs to be balanced. So the most important thing and what we need to do, and you touched on it, is clear our channel. We have to get into our body and out of our head, because our body is always present. I touched on this earlier. Our body is always present. It cannot be in any other timeline. But in our head, whew, we can be in any freaking timeline. And that's usually fear, anxiety, panic. It's not all the good stuff. So we need to literally clear our channel. We have to feel. We have to open up. We have to honor and acknowledge what's coming up in the moment. See the facts. Release it. I like that, because the body leads. That energy leads. When we release that, and this happened for me because we have to get to the mind, because that's what puts the seed in the first place. But it's very difficult to get to the mind because, again, it's so quick. The way to the mind is through the body. And I remember for me, again, back, oh God, it could be going back 20 years. I was so freaking busy, and I started going to yoga. And oh my God, I absolutely hated it, Every time I was like, oh, or it was a mental battle throughout the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking boring. How long is this more is this going to be? I could have done 1,000,001 things. This is like
Yeah.
bullshit, blah, blah, blah.
You could have
Oh my
hacked
God,
into that hour.
mentally, it was horrendous. But I'll never forget after that first class, I felt this, I didn't even know what it was at the time, but I felt this tiny bit of spaciousness in my body that I hadn't felt before. And I was like, oh, what's this? I was like, oh, this feels really good. Like, just it was a glimpse of like ease or space. I called it space, actually. It's just like I felt this because I did carry so much tension in my body. I felt this just little opening, this little space. And that's what kept bringing me back, because I was like, I don't know what this is. And even though it was mental torture for ages, I kept going back. And then eventually the brain calms down. And it's like, oh, this is what we're doing. And once the body begins to feel safe, safety is huge. Once the body begins to feel safer, then we're present, we're in our power. And then I can look at the mind and be like, so what's going on up here? What am I thinking? What are my fear-based thoughts? What are the stories that I'm saying to myself all day, every day? Because again, that's how we're creating. But we have to get through the body. So any somatic, body-based, frequency-based wellness practice moving forward is what we need. It's what we've always needed. It's what we need more than ever. And like that for me, like rap tapping, that's why I'm like, this is why this came into my life. But even dancing, like I love dancing, and that is so quick to shift your energy. Even just shaking your body like an animal, it is so quick to change your
The dogs
frequency.
shake it off. Then when you see two dogs have a
Any
fight.
animals.
Yeah,
They do.
Exactly.
But it's us, the human experience, Karen, I have to remember to do it. And that takes the practice. So getting into your body, however that is for you, whether it's like that, breath work, tapping, dancing, being in nature, music, like anything that gets you into your body is the first step. And then when you're in your body, you have to feel and allow what's there, because there's this, actually, this came in as well for me recently, and this is connected to the hydrogen water specifically. This phrase came in of, oh my God, this is what it's doing. So hydrogen water, what I'm shown and what it's doing, because I'm just learning about it. I'm on it about 5 weeks, but oh my God, it has completely changed my life in the sense of now I can hold this frequency consistently all the time. And what I'm learning on a cellular level is, so molecular hydrogen is the smallest molecule that exists on the planet. It actually is even involved in the start of the planet, the sun and the stars. And it is highly diffusible. And that means it can get everywhere. It's so tiny, it can permeate every single cell, muscle, fiber of our being. It can cross the blood-brain barrier. And it acts like a little Pac-Man. So it goes chewing up all the shit that shouldn't be there, and an adaptogen. So it'll go where your body needs it at the time. And it gets in and it gets out. And what I'm experiencing when I was shown, like, oh my God, it has literally changed the frequency of my cell for the positive, as in by reducing inflammation, oxidative stress, activating the immune, like all these it's scientifically proven. It has therapeutic benefits for over 200 diseases, highly studied. It is literally changing the frequency because it's cleaning up all this stuff that we all have, oxidative stress, inflammation. Like even I was healthy before, we still all have it because life is toxic. And I live my life by prevention, you know, it's toxic, but I'm going to try to do my best. So it's literally changing that, and it's activating our ATP, but it's allowing space for more spirit to come in. Because again, our truth can't get in when we're full of crap. And the words that came to me is, this is helping me shift from density to divinity.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I've got goosebumps as well. And this is all spirit that's coming through. It's coming through clearer than ever, that all of these visions that I've seen of the world, what's happening, the shift we're in, you know, the war, the souls that are there, this divinity to density to divinity, it's all coming through because, I'm not saying 100% because of the hydrogen water, but because of the work that it's doing and the work that I've done to allow even more of my truth, my essence, my light to come in, which is what we all need right now. And yeah, the body has mass, the body has density. We have to release that, and feeling is the way in order to allow more of our spirit to come in. Because there's no other way out for it except through feeling.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, and thank you. Sorry, just to say for a sec that thank you for just the way you've articulated that, because you've just put words on exactly what I've been feeling. And even on a, like I was saying in the last week, on another level of like things like just volcanically coming out of me. And there's volcanoes erupting everywhere. But I've also been using, and I mean, there's many things that can do, like what you're saying, the hydrogen water. I mean, definitely. Plus, I was trying to put language around the shifts that have happened to me since I started working with the doTerra oils, because they're pure, highest frequency, concentrated plant essence. And I can feel my cells are like just exploding. Like that's the only words I can use. And there's many things that are so beautiful to
but
hear
they
the way
literally are, but it's
yes.
exploding with light.
Yes.
And it's that light, which again is scientific, ATP. I learned about it in theta healing, especially because it's coming from that more esoteric, it's scientific. Like ATP is scientific. I can't remember what it stands for.
It's not the battery, the energy of the cell, isn't it? The battery power.
It's literally the power source of the mitochondria, which in science terms is called ATP. But literally in like the woo-woo world, if you want to call it that, that's literally divine light. Because it is divine light that lights our cells, that lights this whole body. Because if I don't have that divine light, that consciousness, that spirit, there is no life, because this body is just the meat suit. It's just the vessel for spirit. So it is literally igniting our light, our truth, which is part of the stardust, which is part of everything. That is literally what is happening in the mitochondria. And like that, I feel it more than ever. And like I was joking with friends, I was like, oh my God, these products should come with a warning that if you're not ready to activate your highest frequency, don't take. But the thing about it is,
warning, you will reach your highest divine potential if you take this. So be very.
Yeah, but let me tell you, because again, that comes with some dissolution. You know, even for me in these last 5 weeks that I've been on it, like that, I've chopped off loads of my hair. I got my nose pierced. I got my second pierced in my earrings. I got my first tattoo. Like, and these don't seem like bad things, but it's just like, oh my God, what is this? I've never thought about getting my nose pierced before, but it was just a knowing of, because again, it's like the truest expression of spirit wants to come through now. I've also gone through a huge portal of grief with losing a friend, and that has just activated and catapulted things even more. And what I've been shown, and my clarity, my connection to spirit, my claircognizance has never been clearer and stronger. But this time, I also am activated, that I can hold the frequency, that I'm not going to dim anymore, because I'm literally lit up, that I'm like, I don't care if it doesn't make sense. I don't care if you don't get it at the moment. This is I know the feeling for me. I know it's absolutely true. I know I need to charge forward. I know I need to step into my light leader role in all aspects. Whatever, you know, it's everyone taking leadership in their own life. But I feel I literally have this frequency in my cells now to do it. And it's amazing. But also I was shown that, and it's only come on the market like a year ago.
You called, tell me, I can always put the link here, because I don't know if you, just to share that with people as well. What's it called again?
Yeah. Well,
Lumi Light.
Vitae is the
Lumi Vitae, Lumi Light.
You can call it that. Lumi Vitae is where I've been called and where I've been shown that they are leading charge. And like that, it's own, and actually ceremonial cacao. So I've worked with ceremonial cacao for years, love it, adore it. And that was known as the food for the shift. which it was. It helped people to open their hearts, to move into a different state of consciousness for like that, people who were ready and needed it. I got that this is the liquid for the shift. This is what we need now, even already incredible light workers, because it's quick, it activates us, it's connecting us to our highest frequency, which we all need as a collective so we can move together. And again, not saying that everyone needs this exact thing.
I know.
Yes, this is the best thing I've ever put in my whole entire life, for me.
Yeah.
But that's, again, is that frequency based. You have to get really responsible with your frequency and really turn it up. Because what's spirit as well? Spirit is pure fun and joy and lightness and playfulness and imagination and love. And that's been so shut down on us. But that's the truth of us. And it's about awakening that as well. And like you said, where are we going? How does someone know like what they have to do and what not? They have to feel it in their body, and they have to dream again. They have to open up their imagination and be like, what do I want? What do I feel called to share in this lifetime? What have been the visions that I have had since I was a child or something like that? And for me, I've had visions of always speaking in front of groups of people. Literally, I've had visions of seeing me as a light, like a lighthouse, and lights all over the world. I'm like, how the hell is that even going to be? Whereas now, with Lumen Vitae and this, and even in their marketing, their materials, the vision of the CEO, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, could this be it? And I don't know, I'm still in it, but it feels really freaking aligned and true, because I have been activated to my highest frequency and I can hold it now, because I'm literally lit up from within. So it's not just because I go do breath work, I go do plant medicine. I have that experience of who I am beyond the physical. Amazing, powerful. But it's not enough to just have the experience anymore. Now it's the embodied, living, sustained, consistently feeling. And that's where we need to move into. It's not just the experience anymore. It's the embodied truth of lighting yourself up from within. From density to divinity. I'm all in anyway, or another one.
I can feel it. I'm like, woohoo. I mean,
another one that came phenomenal. In for me as well was from fractured to fractal. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I love them both. They're so true.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we are a fractal of the divine, and we are all fractured in our humanity, in the density. So we have to break out. And even just to say as well, like, I remember years ago now, I got the message that my voice was my tool. And at that time, I was so shut down, the worst communicator, that I laughed. I was like, that is so crazy. I was like, where the hell did that come from? That is so not true. So when I say to people as well to reconnect to their imagination, to see what has sparked for them before that seemed so wildly impossible and so far removed from who they were in that moment, because they were divine sparks. And there's something there. And again, we don't need to know the how. We will never know the how. We just need to do our work to raise our frequency, and the path will show up. And that's moving from frequency-based, light-based, heart-based living on a whole new level as a collective versus ego-based, mind level. And that's what's coming through for me. Of where
Thank you. But you've answered so many other questions of what I could have.
From what's happening. And
sorry, there's a bit of a delay again. So just if anyone's hearing it, it's just, you can hear. Thank you, Karen. And you know what comes through when you're saying that as well, oh my God, that's so beautiful, is almost going back to where the very beginning. And it's been when you talked about your voice, I had a similar thing. I literally all my life have felt suffocated, and I'll just share this. Someone did a clearing in the house here for me energetically from in England, and
Hmm.
she was talking about my voice being unlocked, and there was a lot of, I had a lot of issues with my voice growing up. And no sooner
Hmm.
the room that she talked about that was connected with the energy of my voice, I swear to God, the window exploded last week. Literally, you couldn't write it.
Love it.
But a guy
Love it.
coming, I'm really afraid when he takes out the window, what the hell will be gushed out. And at the same time, I
Ah,
felt this almost unstoppable is the only word which you're describing, this unstoppable force, which is what we are, this divine light. It's just unstoppable. Nothing is going to
yeah,
stop what is coming.
yeah,
Nothing is stopping it. And but as you said,
yeah,
we need, that's what I feel, getting myself in the physical shape so
yeah,
I can embody and hold it,
yes,
as you've described, is so important.
exactly. Because it is unstoppable. Like it is huge. Like, oh Jesus, it's like, oh my God.
Tidal waves
And
after
I
tidal waves.
definitely, yeah, I can definitely look back and see this has tried to connect with me before, but my body couldn't handle it. So I'd
Mm.
check out, I'd dim. My thing was tired. Next thing I'd be like, oh, I'm so charged up to do something. Then I'm like, I'm so fucking tired, I can't, and I wouldn't do it. And then I'd go into a spiral of, oh, I missed that now. What was that now again? Because my body, now I can see my body physically couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
So it's to be rattled by this energy. And that's why I've been shown hydrogen water as well, or like the frequency, because it's so grounded. I've never been more grounded as well life as this oh huge overwhelming energy is running through me. And I have been tapping loads in moments where I remember there was one night a couple of nights ago, which I definitely, now I'm looking back, I was recording a solo podcast myself, and the words came out, Kundalini Awakening, of what I've just been going through since my friend's funeral on Friday. And I was like, oh my God, this is what it was. But I remember lying in bed one night that I could feel the energy and was like, oh my God, this is the moment. This is the moment. Whereas before I would have checked out and I was like, fuck. I was like, oh my God, if anyone saw me. But I started tapping because I was like, I needed to move through that because it was huge. It was literally rattling me. I needed to move through it. And I did. And I tapped to allow the surge so it can land. So I get it when it feels scary. I get it when like it is huge because spirit is huge. There is nothing limited with spirit. It is pure abundance and magic and love. But without having those tools now, and this is my time to have them, but without having them and being able to manage it in the moment to allow it to come in fully, I would have tapped out again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these things are available for us now because now is the time, and people will, if they feel called, and just to trust. And I say, go all in, go
Oh,
all the
I
way.
don't think we've any choice. It's dude. It really is. What do they
Well,
say?
we do because we
Dragged or
still,
yeah. Well,
yeah, well, we still do because we do have free will. So you still can't, I
yes,
think,
yes. But it's
yes,
harder.
we won't be able to deny it to the level of before, but we still can deny it and block it, but we will suffer even more.
Yes, that's
It
more.
will be
Yeah, yeah,
even more uncomfortable than
yeah,
ever before. So
yeah,
that's how I say, just fucking get all
yeah,
in, mind your frequency, notice, because, and this is the subtle energy body is now as well. Like we have to be really intentional of how do I feel now in this moment? Of does this make me feel good? If it doesn't, and I can see even this year has been preparing me for this moment and these things coming into and happening in my life now. Because even this year, I felt this sense of, oh, I need to up the game. Even though I already ate healthily and exercised every day, I was like, oh, no, I need to move it up a notch. And I started eating even cleaner, pretty much nearly raw vegan. And I was on my rebounder, like bouncing away. I'm like, and I even started jogging again. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But it was all in preparation to get my frequency even higher. Because again, everything we do is affecting our cells. We are 50 trillion cells vibrating, and everything we do affects that frequency. So imagine 50 trillion cells actually lit up with the truth of you. Whew. But you need your supports to be able to hold that. Or
yeah.
or conversely, imagine 50 trillion cells vibrating in things that really do not make you feel good. And that's where we are. Those subtle energies we're going to experience even more heightened, whether positive or negative. So we do have all the choice.
Yeah. 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 Thank you. I think we will. That's a
Yeah.
wonderful, a beautiful place to stop, because it could go talking.
I know. Could keep going
Yeah,
forever.
no, but it's all here anyways, and it's all been transmitted energetically anyways. I always feel that whatever
Exactly.
it's just everything that needs to be. How can people contact you if they want to embrace their unstoppable force of light?
Yeah.
How do you
Woo!
work with people? Because you're in Mexico, so Mexico. I presume
Yeah.
they could visit you
Currently. They
currently.
can, well, they can. But
Yeah.
actually, that's even funny. Before, when I shared that story of that message to move to Mexico, before then, I got the message to start working online. And I remember I was telling friends, I was like, there's this thing called Zoom, because I was like, travel is a part of me. I need to be able to work from anywhere in the world. And it wasn't a thing then. I used to work in event. I was like, I can't do this anymore of coming back, working, building up money, quitting a career, starting again. So I was told to start working online to use this thing called Zoom. And when I told my friends, they were all like, oh, Karen again and her fucking ideas. Like, where does she get them from? And again, I felt a bit like, but I was like, well, I'm going to try anyway. And then a couple of months later, pandemic and everyone else like, there we go again. Not so crazy, was I? So I do a lot of my work remotely because it is a part of me. I can't be fixed to one place, I feel. And even more so, I feel this huge sense of freedom, inner freedom. I'm like, oh yeah, anything is possible. I can be anywhere and do anything and have anything. Yeah. So I do work online. They don't have to come to Mexico. But when I am in Mexico or at home in Ireland, I do often do in-person events. But again, I don't know if that'll be such a thing unless it's a talk and a bigger workshop with rapid tapping, which yes, I want to do. But yeah, we'll see what unfolds. But my website is just my name, KarenMaloney.com, which is a bit behind in all these updates that are happening. The most up to date is Instagram. And again,
Yeah.
it's just at Karen Maloney with an underscore at the end of the
I'll put
Y
all the
and
links
Maloney.
in the description
Yeah,
box because it goes
that's
out
the
in
most
YouTube.
relevant.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen you do some. I think Instagram is a great place to just sort of connect in with someone, and you get a very quick sort of feel or flavor of what they're doing. It's lovely
Yeah.
because I don't
Yeah.
know about. I mean, I know people still have websites, but I think the sense is that they're sort of a bit. They're not as current and alive. Where somewhere you
Exactly.
can just
Like
show
it's
up.
there, it's great, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have all the relevant information of actually what's
Yeah.
unfolding for me in real time now. Like you
Yeah.
say, like I can pop, or any of us can pop on Instagram
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. So thank you. And I think people we know anyways, I think it's also the trust of knowing the right people find us, whoever needs to find us
Completely.
will, and vice versa. Like
Exactly.
we just having connected a good number of months ago, and then it was just like, oh yeah, I don't know, I just contact her. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. And
magical
that's the way
life.
it's, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the way it's
This whole
worked for
idea of
me.
struggle, sorry,
People
but
I'm,
yeah, I growing up, particularly in Ireland, I don't want to go off on another tangent, but definitely was my experience and everything. And you described this hard grafting, work, work, work. It doesn't have to be like that. Not true. Basically, it can be,
it's just a belief.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
basically everything just
yeah,
comes down to belief, which is something that we've thought many, 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 many times. But that's the thing about thoughts and beliefs. They can be changed.
yeah, yeah.
So yes, thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Loved it. And thank you for your work and your light.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. And as I said, I'll put all of Karen's details in the description box. And I hope, like me, you were lit up like a Christmas tree.
Let's
It's evening
light up
time
this
here in
fucking world.
Ireland, and I'm waking up again. So thank you
Yeah,
so much for that.
amazing.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Until the next time. Bye.